When you think about music, the songs in your headphones, the beat that gets you moving, you probably just think of it as entertainment.
Yeah, something fun to listen to.
But the truth is, it's so much more. Music is, well, it's this powerful biological process that lights up nearly every single part of your brain.
It really is. It turns simple sound waves into electrical signals and then into pure emotion and memory, all in, what, a fraction of a second.
And that's really what we're getting into today.
Exactly. We're not just listening to music. Our brains are having this total engagement. So our mission is to map out that incredible journey.
Okay, so where do we start?
We're going to trace that sound wave from your ear all the way inside your skull and find the parts of the brain that handle rhythm, emotion, and, lock those songs into your memory.
Let's start with the physics of it. Music actually begins as just pressure in the air.
Right. Physical sound waves. Think of it like ripples in a pond when you drop a stone in.
And those ripples travel, they hit your eardrum, and it vibrates like a tiny drum skin.
And that vibration, that's the magic trick. It's instantly converted into electrical signals that your brain can actually understand.
So where do those signals go first? They have a primary destination, the auditory cortex. It's this center located deep inside the temporal lobes on both sides of your brain. And that's the main decoding station.
It's the ultimate decoding station. It's dedicated to just receiving and making sense of all incoming sounds. It figures out if you're hearing speech or a siren or music.
What's so interesting is that we have no control over that first step. Your brain is always measuring sound volume, which we track in decibels. A normal conversation is about, 60 decibels?
Around 60, yeah. And here's the wild part. Even if you're trying to focus on homework and your neighbor starts up a loud vacuum, maybe 70 decibels, your brain is forced to decode that sound.
So you can't just turn it off.
You can choose not to listen, but your auditory cortex cannot choose not to process. It has to deal with it.
And that's why loud background noise is so distracting when you're trying to focus. Your brain is stuck doing two things at once.
Precisely. Now, the auditory cortex does way more than just register a sound. It immediately starts breaking it down into its components.
Okay, so what does that mean?
This is where it figures out the difference between sounds with different pitches, like a high, thin note from a flute versus a really deep rumble from a tuba.
And how does it know the difference?
The neurons in that region actually fire in patterns that directly match the frequency, the speed of the sound waves.
So frequency is the key here. It's just how fast the sound waves are vibrating in 1 second. We measure that in hertz.
Yeah. A low note has a low frequency, fewer waves per second, and a high note has a really high frequency. That's pitch.
And the brain has a system for organizing all of this.
A very efficient one. It's called tonotopy. Think of your auditory cortex like a giant specialized keyboard laid out inside your brain.
The keyboard.
Yeah. The brain labels one specific area for handling deep bass sounds and a completely different area for high soprano sounds. So it can process everything at once without getting confused.
That's incredible. But what about when I'm listening to something really complex, like a full orchestra or a layered pop song? There are dozens of frequencies at once.
And that's when the auditory cortex has to work really hard to organize all that information. And this is where we can actually see a physical difference that practice makes.
What do you mean?
Well, brain imaging studies show that professional musicians who've spent years processing complex harmonies often have a measurably thicker, more developed auditory cortex than non-musicians.
Wow. So practicing music literally builds up that part of your brain?
It really does.
Okay, so speaking of pitch, I know most people have what's called relative pitch. We can tell if one note is higher than another. But what about those rare people who can just name a note the second they hear it?
That's perfect pitch. It's the ability to identify a note without any reference sound. You hear a car horn and you just know that's a C sharp. It's pretty amazing.
So we've decoded the notes, but a song needs a pulse, something that gives it momentum, rhythm.
Right. Rhythm is the element that makes you want to tap your foot or start dancing.
And when we talk about rhythm, we're moving from just hearing to actually doing.
It's the ultimate biological connector. Rhythm doesn't just stay in the auditory centers. It links them directly to the motor cortex.
Which is the part of the brain that controls all of our movement and coordination.
Exactly. That spontaneous foot tapping you do. That's your auditory and motor systems working together in real time.
So a steady beat isn't just nice to listen to. It's almost like a physical instruction from your brain.
It is. And this has some huge real-world uses. In therapy, for example. If someone needs to improve their balance or walking skills after an injury, therapists will use rhythmic music.
How does that help?
Listening to a strong, steady drum beat makes it far easier for the brain to tell the body to keep a consistent pace. It syncs everything up.
And keeping time isn't just about what's happening now, right? Your brain is always guessing what comes next.
That's right. And that anticipation is handled in part by the cerebellum.
I thought the cerebellum was just for, like, physical balance, like riding a bike.
It does that too.
Yeah.
But it also plays a huge role in tracking the beat, processing patterns, and, most importantly, predicting when the next beat is going to hit.
So the cerebellum is what lets you clap along to a song without getting off beat?
Exactly. It's the ultimate pattern tracker. It knows when the drum fill is going to end. It's the same part of your brain that makes you good at a video game. It tracks the action and predicts what's coming next.
Okay, let's talk about the emotional side of music. When I hear a song from, say, middle school, I am instantly transported back. It's this immediate punch of nostalgia.
It's an emotional tidal wave, and it's your amygdala lighting up.
The amygdala, that's the brain's emotion center. Fear, excitement.
Fear, excitement, pleasure. It reacts instantly to melodies and harmonies, and we know the reaction is pretty universal. Happy music is usually fast and in a major key. Sad music is often slow and in a minor key.
But that nostalgic feeling, that good feeling, that has to be chemical, right?
It is. When you listen to a song you love, your brain releases a huge dose of dopamine.
The reward chemical.
The very same one you get when you eat your favorite food or win a game. It makes you feel good. And on top of that, music can actually lower your levels of cortisol.
The stress hormone.
Right. So teachers who play background music in class aren't just setting a mood, they're literally optimizing brain chemistry to help students relax and focus.
So what about the memory part? That's where the hippocampus comes in, right?
Precisely. The hippocampus is your control center for long-term memories.
But why does music stick around when other memories fade? I can remember lyrics from 20 years ago, but not what I had for breakfast yesterday.
Because the music and the memory, where you were, who you were with, how you felt, they're all stored together in the same dense neural network.
Okay.
Think of your memory like a giant building. Most memories are like sticky notes on the walls. But music is like the foundational steel frame of the building itself.
So even if the walls start to crumble?
The frame stays intact. This is why people with severe memory loss can often still remember song lyrics and melodies. It unlocks emotions and memories that would otherwise be gone.
That's incredible. What about those songs that get stuck in your head? The earworms?
An earworm is basically the brain getting stuck in a repeating loop. It's a short piece of music that's simple enough to be easily recalled, so the brain just keeps hitting replay on that dopamine circuit.
Even when you wish it would stop?
Even then.
So if just listening to music does all of that, playing an instrument must be like an explosive workout for your brain.
It really is a full-body workout for the brain. It engages almost every major region at the same time.
How so?
Well, think about it. You're forcing your visual system to read the music,
Your auditory system to listen and make sure you're playing it right.
and your motor system to coordinate these tiny, precise movements with your fingers. And it all has to be perfectly synchronized.
And that level of coordination has to cause physical changes in the brain.
It does. Regular practice actually strengthens the corpus callosum,
That's the bridge between the left and right hemispheres of the brain.
the superhighway. Playing an instrument forces those two halves to communicate faster and more efficiently.
And that's why you always hear that kids who play music do better in school, in things like math and reading.
Absolutely. The academic benefits are real. You're strengthening the connections that help with logic and language from the left brain and creativity and patterns from the right brain.
The math connection feels really direct. Music is literally applied math.
It is. It's divided into measures, beats, fractions. A half note takes up half the time in a measure. Your brain is doing basic division constantly just to keep time.
And it's using the parietal lobe for that, which handles math and spatial reasoning.
It's calculating the distance between notes, recognizing the patterns. Your brain loves the order and symmetry in music.
What about language? We have specific language centers, Broca's area and Wernicke's area.
When you sing, your brain does this fascinating dual processing. It uses the left side for the words Broca's and Wernicke's, and the right side for the melody and rhythm.
And combining the two makes the memory stronger.
So much stronger. It's why we teach kids the alphabet with a song. That dual activation just cements the information in their brain.
The real-world applications of this are just huge.
They are. Beyond education, music therapy is transformative. Doctors use it to reduce the perception of pain.
By distracting the brain.
Partly distraction, but it also triggers the release of the body's natural painkillers. And it's used to help patients relax before something like major surgery.
I've heard about stroke patients who lose the ability to speak, but they can still sing.
That's a perfect example. The rhythmic stimulation from singing can help the brain reorganize itself and create new pathways for communication, bypassing the damaged areas.
It's literally rewiring the brain, and you said it can even affect your heart rate.
Yeah, the steady tempo of music can physiologically regulate a person's heart rate and breathing, which is incredibly useful for calming the nervous system.
Okay, let's bring this back to daily life. A lot of students listen to music while they study. Is there a right or wrong way to do that?
For tasks that need deep focus, like reading or writing, instrumental music is definitely better.
Because of the lyrics.
Because the lyrics interfere with your brain's language centers. It's like trying to have two conversations at once. With instrumental music, that interference is gone.
And this influence is everywhere. I mean, stores use music to control how we shop.
Oh, they absolutely do. They'll play fast, upbeat music to get you to move through the aisles quickly.
Or slow music to make you browse longer.
Right. Encouraging you to relax, take your time,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully for them, spend more money.
Yeah.
Your brain is always responding, whether you notice it or not.
It's amazing how this all works. And
Uh-huh.
even though every culture has its own unique musical styles, the basic way our brains react to rhythm and melody is universal.
It really is. Music is a global language, spoken by the neurons in our heads.
So when it comes down to it, music is not just a passive thing.
Not at all. It's a tool that engages, strengthens, and connects nearly every part of your brain. It shapes your memory, your emotions, your ability to learn. It's the ultimate cognitive exercise, all hidden inside a catchy tune.
So the next time you put on your favorite song, just remember, you're not just hearing sound, you're performing this spectacular feat of biological engineering inside your own head.
Keep exploring, keep listening, and good luck with your studies.